Welcome to the June 2nd, 2021 Economic Development Commission. So we're going to call the order, and Linnea, do you want to just check to make sure everybody's here?
Yes. Thank you, Chair. I have taken attendance.
Okay. And let's stand and say Pledge of Allegiance, please. Mr. Arcelli, you can start.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any questions from our last meeting of May 5th? If not, I would look for the approval of minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We'll move on to item number 5, which is management reports. And we go to new business because there was nothing under old business. So Linnea.
Thank you. Well, our next item is for council liaison updates. So Councilmember Swedberg.
Hi there. Chair and commissioners, hi. Nice to see you guys in person. It's very nice and with no mask and everything. That's great. I really don't have anything except I had this landscape revival event that's happening. If you haven't heard, it's happening June 12th here out in the parking lot of City Hall from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have growers that are native plants, okay? So it's a great event. And Oscar, who's here for the farmer's market right now, he's going to be here. There's going to be a food truck. And it's a great way to support your local growers and also learn and educate yourself. So look forward to seeing some of you guys. It'd be great.
What time is that?
9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on June 12th. Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. So, okay. I can stand for any questions you guys may come up with. But now we've got the big boy here, you know, so. Anything?
Oh, I think that's good.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Okay, Mayor, you're up.
Thanks, Chair, and nice to see you, Commissioners. My name is Paul Reinke, I'm the Mayor. I was invited to come tonight and talk to you about the two significant capital projects that we have on our docket that we've been planning for, police facility is pushing 6 years. Public Works is probably 5.5. And so I'll talk a little bit about those. I think you were all given a handout that we used when our negotiation and our presentations to the legislature. So we presented to the House and the Senate. And then I'll talk as best I can. If I'm not familiar with the detail or a question that you might ask, I'll be sure to follow up with you and get that information. The two projects then, and Linnea, is it possible, does that camera still work? And can I put a thing there in case?
I can go.
I'll see if I can read.
But she knew how to do it.
Okay. I'm going to keep on going though.
Yep.
So, the two projects, and I'm assuming that there might be some varying levels of understanding about what the projects are and why we're doing them. But the first project is the police department, police station expansion. So right now in the Oakdale City Hall, we have the police station to the northwest corner. And the sense is to expand that, to make it functional. And I can get into detail in a couple of moments. It also includes a garage. Currently, you've all seen, the police officers have their cars and the squads sitting out in the open, as well as their personal vehicles too. With this project, that'll become part of the enclosed garage for the squads, and then the personal vehicles will be parked in the back behind a fence, secured gate. The other project that I want to talk about is the Public Works building. Public Works was originally built in 1985, and it was expanded 3 times since then. Back in 1985, there was this technology or technique Mr. Bob, you sure remember the underfloor duct work systems that were installed at the time. This building was a recipient of that technology, and I think it worked fine for a little while. Currently, with the site that it's on and the wetland that surrounds it, water seeps into that ductwork system. So I've been on occasion to see inside, looking down through the duct and seeing the ripple of the water that's present and unacceptable. You can imagine if it gets out of control, what's going to happen potentially with mold, fungus, and other harmful bacteria. So we've been working with 3M, and there's a site that has been identified that makes a lot of sense, and it's just south of 34th and Granada, or Old Highway 5 in Granada. It is a site that 3M has had under control or owned for a long time. They are willing to sell it at a very inexpensive rate, $1 or something thereabouts. But the thing that's going to happen there is that the cleanup activities, because it is a polluted industrial site, will take place and paid for by 3M in order to give it a very clean, safe building site for a project. So these two projects aren't optional. Both are necessary. And so what we've been talking about internally from a council and with our legislature is how do we finance them? How do we fund them? The two choices are either property tax or this option called local area sales tax. So we've started talking with the legislature, this will be a third year, about the ability to get permission from the legislature to enact or to put on a ballot for our voters to vote on 0.5% sales tax to finance these projects. So the police department is 15 million. The Public Works building is 22 million, current estimates, so a total of $37 million. So 0.5% sales tax on all taxable purchases within Oakdale, we estimate we would collect about $1.9 million annually. That takes about 20 years to pay off that bond. We have the right, if approved by the legislature, to extend that thing for 25 years just to be sure that we have enough money to cover the debt service. And it expires the earlier of payment of the debt or 25 years. So of that $37 million bucks, again, either we finance it by sales tax or we finance it through property tax. Council discussion was significant, and we decided to go down that path of asking the legislature for that permission to enact this local area sales tax. And it's different. I think 4 years ago, the legislature used to do a local vote first, or used to allow a local vote first on any community that wanted to do a local area sales tax. And then when that said yes, then they went to the legislature for permission to, or validation and permission from the legislature to do that. It's kind of backwards. So they flipped it. And so now we need to get permission from the legislature first, and then we present it to the voters in the next general election for a yay vote to allow us to do this. Quickies, how much is 0.5% sales tax on, say, a $500 purchase? Mr. Landis, you got that mental?
Yeah, it's not that much, but.
No, $2.50.
Yep.
So the amount of it is low, and the analysis that's been done from assistance with the U of M about our global retail sales has been significant and adequate to demonstrate that we do have enough sales in our city to pay for the debt service, and also a cushion that if the economy goes in the tank or something else happens, a significant retail enterprise moves out of the city, we still have enough money to pay these bills. I don't know. What else can I say? What are the questions that you think you might have?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Mayor, do you know if our neighboring cities have a local option sales tax like this?
I do know. I just got it in my file here.
Okay.
Of the, there's 21 communities that are asking legislature approval to enact a new one, and so I'll answer that first. So it's Edina is one of those nearby cities. Otherwise, it's northern communities, Cross Lake, Carlton County, Fergus Falls, Little Falls, those type of places.
Not our neighboring cities, though, Woodbury or Stillwater or Nursing Home.
I don't believe any of our cities that touch our boundaries have that. So then one of the questions that has come up in discussion is, are we doing something that's going to harm our competitiveness, or are we doing something that is nonsensical for the expansion of our community and our tax base and our, I don't believe so.
That was my thinking as well, but the
Yep.
amount is so low that
Yep.
I don't think that someone's gonna travel to a neighboring city to save 0.5% on sales.
Right.
That's my opinion, I don't know.
And we compared it to Washington County when they were part of the TAB program, the Transportation Alliance Board thing, and we had the quarter-cent sales tax, and everybody was up in arms about, oh my gosh, what's it going to do to everybody when they go to the gas pump and have to pay another quarter-cent sales tax? It was insignificant and became was a non-issue. We believe it'll be a non-issue for this purpose also.
I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I am so in favor of the sales tax. I think it's just a perfect idea. And we've got some pretty big retailers in this community.
Yep.
Slumberland, Best Buy, Fleet Farm, Menards. And that's such a small percentage of the sales tax.
Yep.
Who would even know that it's there? I mean, I just can't see any reason why anybody would be opposed to this particular way of getting money,
We believe the same.
I was just going to say that provides a segue into my question. So what is the communication plan? Let's say legislature passes this, allows us to vote. What is the plan to look at it as a positive spin? Because the first thing people are going to think of is, wait, that's more money. I don't want to pay that much money, even though it's so minute. But what's the plan on kind of promoting it to get residents educated?
Yeah. The first thing to think about before we get into the plan is who's paying for it. If we don't get permission from the legislature for this tax, then it's going to become a property tax. So then all the current taxpayers, residential, commercial, and retail, industrial, will have that added to their bill to pay for it. Again, it'd be maybe easier if this was a nice to do. Let's do this because it'd be good. Well, it's a must to do. So we anticipate, right now we've got good support in both the House and the Senate, and both have the bill that enacts this ordinance in their bonding rights. And somebody, David, I'm going to butcher the language, but the notion is both of them have current approval of this, this tax. When they go for the final reconciliation is where the rubber's going to meet the road. And right now we're getting good feedback that the House and the Senate will both say, yes, we approve it. And we've heard nothing out of the governor's office that they're going to, no, shame on you, boom, boom. So when that happens, then the strategy and the strategic communications around what, when, who, how much kick in. Do you remember the school referendum bond, the school bond referendum that passed a couple of years ago? There's a real fine line between using school resources to communicate and persuade, and likewise we have the same situation to be cautious of and to understand where that line is. So I really can't push down that path of using taxpayer money to communicate and convince, persuade taxpayers to say yes to this. We can use taxpayer money to inform. So that's what we're going to be doing. The other piece of it is going to be, we're going to get some assistance on how to do this well. And then the various groups, you're one of the groups, that if this is supportive and common sense to you and then sensical, then each of your small networks or large networks becomes an opportunity to express the benefit of doing it this way versus property taxes. So that's kind of a long way of saying that the strategic plan is going to get put in place. We've chosen not to consume any time or even waste any time at this point until we get the nod from the legislature.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
I will personally say I'm in favor of this.
Good, thank you.
So I think to follow up on what you had said, just to kind of summarize, rather than everybody in Oakdale paying for it through property taxes,
Yep.
it will be borne by people outside the community that come in and purchase as well, right? So you really are spreading it out
Yes.
to a larger
Yes.
audience.
And to me, that's the biggest, like Councilmember Swedberg just said, that's one of the biggest reasons for doing it this way is that it spreads the base to people beyond just Oakdale. And should there be minimal purchases by businesses, they're not going to incur any or very little expense on a very little expense, because it's such a small deal right
And I
now.
assume that because this has been done in other communities, there are mechanisms as far as, I mean, there must be a little extra reporting on the part of the businesses and kind of collecting the taxes and paying the taxes,
Yep.
but that's all well established.
Yep. And so I have a small business. It's called Silver Oak Development. Every year I get the form from my tax CPA saying, hey, what's your sales and use percentages and where'd you buy your products? And Washington County has this, other communities have that, and I've got to break it down. We will be added on as a line item to that sheet, and businesses do have to keep tabs and track of their purchases with one more community.
Does the state collect that and then reimburse send it back to the city, or do you pay it directly to the city?
I believe it's the former, but I'm not sure, the actual mechanism.
And the question deals with if the money then comes in is it a dedicated series of funds that go specifically for that?
Yes, it
So
is.
it's not combined into the overall budget then, right?
It's a very dedicated, isolated fund, and then the goal is to get rid of it as soon as we can. When additional retail comes, additional retail, the new home furniture store, that wasn't contemplated or even planned in anybody's budgeting or calculations for how much money could be raised through this tax. Over the time, there's going to be a couple of more retailers coming to town. So if we can eliminate this thing in 15 years, God bless, let's get rid of it.
Because we can't collect more than
Right.
what is approved, okay?
That was my question.
So what Councilperson Swedberg said, just for the audience, there's a limitation and a requirement from the statute that either ends at maximum 25 years or as soon as you've raised enough money to pay off that debt. It's not a usable item just to create a new fund within the city line on a budget. It's a dedicated purpose.
You also have another advantage in that the bond interest rates are so low now.
Yes.
As compared to, in the past. It could be very advantageous to float a bond based on lower interest rates than much higher.
Agreed. So now mechanics about how this all works. So we've got the Public Works. You've got also the Police Department. The Police Department is going to get significantly remodeled in that huge expansion of the garage. Reality says we should probably do Public Works first. Get that building built, relocate a significant number of our police officers and employees to the Public Works, and then do the work in this building. When it's done, they come up, and then I would love to tear down that building because of the problems, but that remains to be seen. One thing to be sure of when I talk about some of the issues with the Public Works building and the ductwork systems and makeup air systems, city engineer and Public Works Director Bachmeyer has instituted a program for quarterly or biannually, so twice a year, testing of the air quality. So we know what's in the air and it's not a harmful situation. I just am glad that Brian's doing that because I don't want to get to that point of somebody saying, I've been in this building 14 years and I've got these issues. Well, no, we're going to be sure that it doesn't. And there's techniques to increase the amount of fresh air circulation, and even in the winter we can do that by turning up the makeup air reheats. So they're in good standing right now. I would just like to get them into new quarters. Well, think about that too. So when you drive down there, Public Works, you see in the wintertime all this equipment outdoors, significant equipment that's expensive. You might be sheltered, but it's still open. Wow, the lifespan of that equipment is getting smaller and smaller because we're not able to protect it. The new building will have the adequate storage for the equipment, and we won't have to worry about vandalism or rust. What else can I share?
Any other questions for the mayor, please?
I have one. Last year you brought this to us, and the Public Works, I think we were gonna fix that building originally, and now we're talking about just a whole new site and everything.
I think the option to fix and expand down there was desired because it was less costly.
Right.
And at that time, I don't think we had to deal with 3M about a very small land purchase or land transaction. So, man, I want to say Leo Daly Architects, who worked with our police, also worked with the Public Works building, doing the program, and just found that site can't accommodate the building size and the salt storage, the chips, the wood, all the stuff. So that was discarded when we were able to reach agreement with 3M to acquire a site just south of Highway 5.
Any other questions?
Cool.
Mr. Mayor, thank you so much.
Nice to see you. Oh, you guys know this. Here's one more I forgot to say. One of the things we have to demonstrate to the legislature on this process is the regional significance portion or component of both of these projects. So we've done that. We think we've had a very good argument. Some of the information that I shared with both the House and the Senate was our population. So 2020, think about 29,600 people. 2040, 36,000, so a 21% increase. Households, you all know now that's about 12,000 households. 2040, anticipating just shy of 15,000, so a 24% increase. Our employment numbers, roughly 11,600 now within the city. Anticipate going up to just slightly over 12,000, 12,100. So that's just a little over 4% increase. So as we're thinking about this community of ours and the things that makes it good and the high level of services that we provide both on the fire life safety and the public works side, our community is growing, the demands get larger, and these two facilities will certainly help take care of business.
I got a quick question for you, Paul. Who are our legislators that are working on this?
Yep. So on the Senate side, it's Senators Uyghur, Housley, and Kent. And on the House side, it's Representatives Lilly and Strong.
Okay.
Both groups have been super. Yeah, it's been super. It's been weird doing the Zoom meetings for these things, but it's worked, and they've been huge advocates for us.
Good.
So cool.
Again, thank you.
You're welcome. Nice to see you guys. And like Councilmember Swedberg said, it sure is nice not to have the masks. It sure is nice to meet in person, and also thanks for the service. Don't hesitate to ask, either through Colleen or through myself, if something comes up, or if there's a group that after we get permission from the legislature, if there's a group that you're involved in, Lions, whoever, that would like a presentation, we sure would be glad to do that.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Linnea, do you want to take over on the development updates, please?
Yes, be happy to. I will provide some select updates. You'll remember back in March when Bob and I gave the presentation about all the development that's coming. I won't go through all of that. I'll just give you the highlights. But if there's a project you're thinking of that you would like a comment on, just feel free to ask when I'm done. Notable is the Willowbrook new neighborhood, which is just north of the Forefront Technology and Office campus. That a new development was just approved for that area. This is the Continental Properties, which is proposing to do rental townhomes in the southeast corner of that area. So their preliminary and final plat and site plan was approved in May, so just last month. And the construction is anticipated to begin this summer or late summer, early fall. So that'll be 280 rental townhomes in a gated community. And Lennar Home Builders is gearing up to start their summer construction this year. They'll be starting with the 51 villa homes and 63 carriage townhomes. So that will also be happening in that area.
Excuse me, Linnea, these twin homes, they're rental, they're gonna be rentals,
The townhomes,
townhomes?
yep,
They're rentals, all rentals, huh?
Yep.
288 of them?
280,
Okay,
yep.
so I may have a home in the future coming up, huh?
Yes. If you remember the renderings from March, they look very nice. Yep.
Yep.
Then there'll be like a clubhouse, amenity clubhouse with a pool, that'll be there for the residents as well. So, yeah, it'll be a unique product for Oakdale. We don't have anything like that. At Helmo Station, Bethesda Cornerstone Community is working on a proposal for an apartment building, multifamily, at the southwest corner of Helmo and 4th Street. And we're anticipating that they're gonna come forward with their application for preliminary and final plat and site plan approvals this summer. So that's moving ahead so far. Greenway Station, which is the other BRTOD station in Oakdale, at Greenway and Hudson Boulevard. The comprehensive plan will be amended this summer to include the Greenway Station area plan so that implementation of that plan can proceed. That's a process that happens similarly with Helmo Station, and that helps make the plan come to fruition. So that'll be moving forward this summer. Home Furniture at 10th and Helmo, they began their demolition in April, so you may have seen the construction trucks and stuff coming down. They also received a building permit to start renovations in May. So that work is moving forward, and that is expected to take quite a while to finish all the renovation of that building, but it's ongoing. We are working through an amendment to the PUD, so the Planned Unit Development Agreement for the Forefront Technology and Office Campus. The landowner there, which you know is Slumberland, is working to add light manufacturing and office showroom or office warehouse uses to the list of allowable uses at that site, and particularly in the northwest area where there's developable land, and that is anticipated to be approved this month if all goes well. And we're expecting a possible 300 square foot industrial office buildings to start construction later this year, if everything goes smoothly. So that's moving forward as well. And then finally, the new city water treatment facility at 12th and Helmo is now under construction. So if you drive by there, you'll see that building's going up.
Good. Any questions for Linnea?
I do. The home building there, I mean, what are they actually doing? I mean, it's a movie theater. What do you do to redevelop that into a display place? I mean, how do you do, what are they doing?
Well, they're taking out, they have the sloped stadium floors in there. They're taking those out. So it's a big gutting job.
Wow.
Inside, yeah. Yep.
We are blessed that those people came along and took that, because that could be a big white elephant.
Yeah.
Ever. We could have been sitting on that for 10 years.
Yeah.
Or more.
So, Linnea, I have a
So
question.
that's wonderful that they came to the plate. Oh,
I have a question about that, and it seems interesting that they're putting a facility there so close to the Woodbury facility of home. I mean, they're like a mile away.
They're moving.
They're moving.
Right.
Oh, they're moving
Right.
to, I got it. So they're gonna close the Woodbury and move
Right.
there.
That's anticipation of the bus rapid coming through.
That makes sense. Okay.
Linnea, the Helmo Station, is that housing, is some of that affordable housing?
A portion of it is proposed to be affordable, yep. Mhm. And it's also, a portion of it is, of the units are set aside for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, so it's a really interesting, program that they run. It's supportive housing for those adults and integrating them into, just normal living environment.
Any other questions? Okay. Linnea, do you want to move on to the Minnesota deed?
Yes, and just to point out, if you would like to get some further reading, there's some new articles being sent out by deed. They're only available online now. I don't print them for you anymore, but that's the link to get there. And the June publication has some very interesting articles about employment and reemployment post-COVID and sort of the twin issues of people are looking for work, employers are looking for workers, but there's some mismatch between who's available and who's needed. So I'd recommend giving that a look.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to commissioner updates. Gary, do you want to start?
I don't have any,
No
Okay.
updates for
Nope.
me.
Nothing for me.
Okay. Frank,
No, I don't have anything.
everybody's so quiet.
I do have a comment to add on to last month's meeting. I think Commissioner Halper asked about like what our job is as a role, basically what's our role on the commission. And I do kind of object with the line item that was brought up as it's a stepping stone to get onto council. Yeah, I believe it has been used as that, but also at the same time, I've worked the last 7 years with citizen engagement and engaging communities. And I think that is our primary role, is to be citizens that are engaged, that, I really loved how it was brought up, we go out and inform other people. And I do think this is the way that we can express, especially with this tax. I've looked at Duluth and how they have a travel tax adding on, and the difference, that doesn't deter me from going to Duluth. But at the same time, I think that it's our job as citizens that we've chosen to get engaged. We need to share that information, and I really wanted to jump onto that. I have thought a lot about it this last month, and I do think that that's our responsibility. And when we do bring stuff up, I think that it's our responsibility to hold the council responsible for it, because there's documentation of what we say and doing different things with open meeting laws. And so I think it is necessarily our responsibility to bring up conversations that we've had with individuals, get out in the community, find out what that is. Not only that, we are helping out the city council and making Oakdale a better place, especially in the economic sector.
Great, thank you, David.
Thank you.
I'd just like to interrupt a minute because, David, I'd like to correct you on something. I don't think it was implied or people meant that to use it as a stepping stone to get on council. I think I said it to Dave was as an ambassador to the city. That's what I said, is because I don't believe there is a stepping stone necessarily, because Susie Olson did it without, so you don't have to do that. It's just that a lot of us ended up coming through the ranks, But I do appreciate you saying about the ambassador part, educating people. When you talk to your neighbors, when you talk to your friends that live in Oakdale, explain some of this stuff like the sales tax and things like that. That's what you're so valuable. And like you said, David, bring it back when you hear stuff. Let us know what you're hearing, because we do want to know what the community is thinking about. So I'm sorry I interrupted, but I just wanted to clarify that, okay? Thank you, you guys.
Yep. Scott?
No update, just ready for summer.
Yeah.
Well, we had it yesterday and today.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have it,
We'll have it a couple times this.
Yep. Gary, go ahead.
I just have an opportunity, a volunteer opportunity. I would mention Washington County Parks are looking for citizen pruners. If anyone has any interest in that, or you know of anyone who has any interest in that. They're looking to volunteer, commit to 10 hours of pruning for 2 consecutive years. There is a training class at the University of Minnesota that you go through. And those are going on later this month, so if you know anyone who might be interested in that, I've got information, or I think that's on the Washington County website as well.
Great, thank you. Dave?
No updates?
Okay. I just want to make a comment. I really appreciate everybody, questions, discussion. I think that's what's going to make us stronger and stronger with what's going on. And the whole thing is, we're here to go and serve a purpose of, bringing businesses into the city of Oakdale. And, we need to go and keep talking. So I do really appreciate everybody's input at these meetings. And if there is anything, that comes up, during a week or whatever, just communicate with Linnea, and we'll just keep getting stronger and stronger. But I appreciate everybody's time. Okay? Go ahead.
Say the thing about Bill Rasmussen.
You can.
Oh, you go ahead. You go ahead. You're in charge.
No, you're in charge right now.
I'm turning it over
Go
to
ahead.
you.
No. I just want to let everybody know, a good friend of ours within the community passed away last Friday. That's Bill Rasmussen. And Bill was involved with the city for how many years, Bob? 20?
Probably 20-something.
Yeah, 20, maybe 25 years.
At least.
He was a veteran. He was involved with the Lions. He was involved with everything, but unfortunately, he passed on Friday morning at his lake home, which is exactly where he wanted to be. And so thoughts and prayers to his daughter, Pam. And you should see something in the paper probably on Sunday with some more information. So thoughts and prayers to his family. He lost his wife about 9-10 months ago. So kind of a tough time for his daughter. And unfortunately, he had 2 sons that preceded him in death as well. So anyway, he was a good friend to me and to many in this chamber right now. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye. 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 Okay, thank you.